Hello, everyone. This is Adam with Adam's Exploits, and thank you for joining us on Reselling Rhythms with A&A. I'm very happy to say that we have our special co-host, Anita with us today, and we also have a special guest. So we're going to wait for some people to fill into the chat. In the meantime, I would like Anita to say hello to some people. Anita, you want to introduce yourself and say hello to a couple people?
Hi. My channel is Anita Fanita. I do jar unjarrings. I do jewelry sales, auctions. I have 3 platforms where I sell my jewelry. You'll find them under my channel. And I have 3 beautiful children. That's about it for me.
And about 4 different groups, and you sell a lot of jewelry and
yes, I just recently opened a new group. That I will put the link up after the live.
I can do that. I put all Alma's links. Well, I guess that's where I should start. But you finish, and then I'll introduce Alma.
Yeah, it's called there's always room for jewelry. So yeah, that's my new Facebook group. But we're gonna talk about Alma. Go ahead, go to Alma.
Okay, we're starting to have some people filter in. We have 2 mods. Thank you, Michelle and David. I just want to introduce our special guest. Our special guest is Alma with My Thrifted Escape. Alma is predominantly a clothing seller. She sells on Poshmark and eBay, and we're all both trying to expand our Poshmark. Anita has a Poshmark account. I technically have a Poshmark account, but I want to start trying to cross-post some of my nicer women's clothing on Poshmark. So I'm trying to learn before I kind of jump into it. So I'm going to introduce Alma, and I'm going to put the screen on her and make sure that you guys can see her okay, and then we'll be good to go. Okay. Let me make sure that we can
lock screen.
Lock screen. Of course, I didn't do that recently. Okay, there you are.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Okay, you should be locked. Okay. I got to get my chat back up. Everybody see Alma?
Oh, are you talking to me? Okay.
Yeah, I locked on you. You should be locked.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Alma of My Thrifted Escape here on YouTube, and I am a full-time online reseller. I sell on eBay primarily, or I wouldn't even say primarily. eBay is my main platform. I'll say that. And I also sell on Poshmark, Mercari, and Vinted. So I am full-time now. I've been selling just under 2 years, and I went full-time in July of this year. And I'm just really enjoying, the whole reselling process. I enjoy, owning my own time. And YouTube has made it a very social experience where I think it would be very isolating otherwise. And I recognize some people in the chat. So hi, Justin. Hi, Crystal. And Michelle. So I'm excited just to be on. And I had been watching Anita because she does jewelry, and I would love to do jewelry. I dabbled in it, and I just don't know about it. And Adam is great. Adam is so supportive and has, always come into the chat in my channel. So I just want to be supportive of you guys. I think it's great when, actual resellers that know the daily grind, get on YouTube and share your experience. We learn a lot from each other.
Okay, just a couple quick questions. You had discussed the platforms. That was our first question. So I don't have to ask you about platforms that you sell on. Could you just tell us, again, it's not going to be detailed, just a little bit. I know you said you started in July, I believe, reselling full-time. What was your background prior to that? Were you in retail, or what was your background?
Well, I've had 2 careers in my life. I was in the United States Air Force. And then after that, I was a military spouse for a while. Then I went into real estate, and I worked 20 years in the apartment industry. So I've been a regional apartment manager, and most recently at a college community here locally, I was a property manager.
So I didn't know that. Now I know. Now we know. I knew you had something to do with the military, but I didn't know what division. But thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah, I got into housing afterwards, real estate, and I actually, as a civilian, I worked locally here at Randolph Air Force Base in their base housing for the generals, and yeah, so I have a huge love and appreciation for the military, military spouse, and anyone associated with that part of our country. So it's awesome.
Right. So you did housing for general, so you probably have access to the golf course if need be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I'll start the interviews, and I'm just going to leave it locked in on Alma because you guys don't need to see me. Alma's a much more attractive person. Anyway, you answered about the platforms that you sell on. Why don't we go over sourcing? How do you source? Where do you source? What do you look for?
Okay, so my I source at the bins. That's primarily where I started sourcing, because it's obviously low investment, right? And so when I was first learning what to sell, there wasn't a lot of risk. So, you know, you can go and you can spend, you know, $20, $30 and get a good amount of stuff without having too much invested. Probably oversourced in the beginning. And then over time, you know, you kind of know the things that start to sell for you. So you're a little more selective at the bins. And then I have a local thrift store that I go to that kind of has a tier system in pricing. So it starts out, you know, higher on one day and it goes through the week and it goes down as low as like 25 cents. So if you look at my channel, I do a lot of 25-cent and 50-cent hauls. Again, another way to get huge amounts of inventory and get overwhelmed. So, you know, just be really selective. And so those are my two primary sourcing kind of year round. But in the summertime, I do a lot of yard sales because I love to sell plush toys. And they're kind of, you know, kind of the place to get some really good plush. And a local flea market sometimes. I've picked up some really nice handbags and plush toys at the flea market. Just every once in a while. I don't really depend on those sources for my inventory, but it happens.
Okay, just for our newer sellers, the bins is Goodwill's wholesale outlet. They sell clothing and hard goods, or sometimes hard goods are by the individual price, but probably it's by the pound. So I think in my area it's $1.59 a pound or $1.29 a pound, and it varies depending upon regions. So if you guys want to locate a bins, you just go to Goodwill and then you look for the outlet stores. So whenever anyone says the bins, they're referring to the Goodwill outlet stores because they wheel out the products in these big, huge, typically blue bins. And then they say, wait, everybody waits to the side. And then it's like a feeding frenzy. Everybody just rushes the bins and they start grabbing stuff out. How are your bins? Are they pretty sane? Are they is there craziness? Is the shoe group there that grabs the shoes and starts throwing everything in her basket, or how does it work in your bins?
Yeah, it gets kind of crazy. There are people who obviously are regulars, right? We have a lot of people that source to take across the border. I'm in Texas, and so they source for Mexico, and so you might have a whole family that you can tell they're kind of, you know, just scooping product all at a time, and then they go off to the side and they have someone else that's kind of sorting through things.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you know, it's not just resellers, you know, like me. It's you know, people who have maybe a store at the border, across the border, a thrift store. So it can get pretty crazy. I'm kind of not an aggressive bin shopper. I will, you know, hang back. I let people go crazy for whatever that is that they're eager to get. And then I will approach it and go through, you know, afterwards. You still find good things because everyone is looking for something different.
Yep.
You know, so I have been at a bin at the very end of a day, of a night, right before they close. And that bin has been out for maybe 2 hours and everyone has looked through it and still found, you know, a pair of Tory birch flip-flops that I flipped for, you know, $60. So it happens. You have to be patient with it. It's not like walking into a retail store for sure.
Sure. And every bin has like a different schedule as when they wheel out the bins. Like I said, in mine, we have, well, they call them a shoe mafia. It's a bunch of people that just grab all the shoes, and I think they ship them overseas. And they're very, very aggressive. So you don't even want to go near because they have like 4 or 5 of them that'll be sourcing all at the same time. So you didn't want to go near there. You can go afterwards, but you know, might have some people just sourcing hard goods or some people sourcing clothing.
Yeah.
but it varies. But with my bins, it's very aggressive. In fact, I get my shopping cart taken at the regular Goodwill and at the bins. And what they do with my bins is they put like a towel or something over top of their goods that's in their bins, and they put it off to the side because the bins, the Goodwill doesn't allow you to wheel your cart up. Do you use the resellers fix all the big IKEA bags? You carry those when you go sourcing?
I do, and for a while there were pink IKEA bags, and I can't find them. I cannot find them. If anyone has a source, or I've even been looking on eBay. I am looking for a mass quantity of pink IKEA bags. I probably have about, I don't know, 20 or 30 of the blue ones, and I do take a small tote bag with my own IKEA bags in it, and so after I am done looking through everything and I have my selection, then I, organize it into my own bags, and it makes it easy for checking out. Obviously, when you're getting a lot of stuff. I also travel to Austin, which is, I'm in San Antonio, Helotes. Well, I'm in Helotes. I travel to San Antonio. It's not that far to the Goodwill outlet here. And then about once a month, I travel to Austin, and they have 2 Goodwill outlets. And that's a bins. The Goodwill outlet is what they call it.
Right. Do you ever do any kind of like yard sale or anything in Austin? Do you run into our friends? Who's out there? Chris, the Bonafide Hustler. I think Tracy is out in the Austin area as well. You ever run into them?
No, I haven't done any yard sales there. I do watch Bonafide Hustler. Right.
Yeah. Oh, there's Mr. Todd. Hello, Todd, the Flippin' Hustler.
Hi.
Okay, so we talked about the bins. You source at local thrift stores.
I have a quick question.
Okay, well, I'm going to unlock it, Anita. Says if we want to back and forth.
Just a quick question. I just wanted to know, like, when you do bring the items home, since most of them are clothing and things like that, what do you wash the clothes before you list them? Do you list them as is? I'm very curious because I don't really do a lot of clothes.
Well, most of my clothes does not actually come from the bins. I get plush. I sell a lot of shoes. Yeah. So shoes, plush, any kinds of toys or hard goods, that comes from the bins. Most of my clothing comes from that other thrift store that I mentioned. It starts at $2 a day. They have a day that starts at $2. Everything is at $2, and then throughout the week that keeps dropping until they completely clear out the whole store and start over the following week. So I go at least twice a week to that thrift store, and that is where most of my clothing comes from. If I find some things that are that is clothing at the bins, then I do wash that, only because most of the time it's not just clothing in a bin. Sometimes it gets mixed in with other stuff. So I do wash the bin clothes, not the other thrift store. I don't wash everything.
Okay. And the clothes could have the thrift store smell. We all know the thrift store smell.
Curious. Yeah. Ones here. Oh my God. Yeah. There's security at the ones here.
I'm going to unlock Alma because we're having like a chitter chat back here. So I just want to make sure we have. Okay, we're unlocked, correct? Do you guys see me? Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
I send you.
Okay, good. So you had mentioned, I had forgotten in my infinite wisdom that you do a lot with plushes. I know you do a lot. Could you tell us a little bit? I mean, I'm always like hesitant to pick up plushes, even at like a regular Goodwill, because I don't know if they're worth anything. How would you go about looking for plushes if you were a newer seller, let's say? How would you determine do you have to look up everything? You just kind of grab it and look it over, see if it's stained, and then search it on eBay? How would you go about doing that?
Well, plush is fun. It can be a big moneymaker. Probably the best plush I sold was a huge Bugs Bunny, and I paid $3 for him, and it ended up selling for $85 plus $12 shipping, and I think the buyer was like international, so that was a good flip for me. But normally it is just anything Disney store. Obviously, make sure that it is in, great, almost perfect condition if you're doing Disney stuff like that. When you start to get more into plush, then, you could join some of the plush Facebook groups that are out there. And there are certain brands that do well. There is Kelly Toy, which is they're not as, beautiful as a Disney store plush, but there are some vintage ones. And so, that's a good brand to look at. Aurora Plush is another good brand. There is Gans. And then there's Wildlife something, anything kind of very realistic looking. So just today I shipped off a Gans, and it was an elephant and a tiger, I think, like last week. So very realistic plush, Disney plush, Aurora. I mean, just learn the brands. Kelly Toy, Aurora. There is Applause with an S, Applause. They do some of the vintage Sesame Street, characters. And so like Kermit, if you find Kermit, it could be any brand almost. Kermit, he is very, very popular. So yeah, it just depends. But I would say don't pay a lot for plush, buy it at yard sales, get it at the bins, where it's, by weight, it's very inexpensive. If you see it at a thrift store, be very, very selective. Obviously, go ahead and check comps and see. But I don't think I've ever picked up plush at a Goodwill retail, except maybe on like a half price day. But I always look at it. It's not always, not that it won't flip for you, but plush can sometimes be very long tail. You know what I mean? You just need to list it, store it, forget about it. And then as your inventory grows, I get plush sales, probably every other day I'll sell a plush, but I have hundreds of plush. So yeah, Build-A-Bear too, Crystal. Build-A-Bear.
That was my question when I asked you about Build-A-Bear. How do you determine what Build-A-Bear is valuable?
Yeah, so, probably not your common, just regular bear. Like I have one sitting up there. But when they collab with someone, when it's a limited edition Build-A-Bear, they can do very, very well. The Build-A-Bear clothing, you could do lots of Build-A-Bear clothes. I find that at the bins a lot. And I just keep, I just have a bag and I keep putting it in there. It doesn't weigh anything to add that clothes to my cart. And then, I can sell a lot of Build-A-Bear clothes for, $40-50. And it just takes time.
How do you determine it's Build-A-Bear clothing? Is it labeled somehow on the clothing or some kind of trademark on it?
Yeah, they have, if it doesn't say Build-A-Bear on the clothing, it'll have usually a little tag that says Build-A-Bear, or it might say BAB, which is Build-A-Bear.
Okay.
Or it might have a little bear paw, just a little bear footprint kind of image will be on the item, and that is Build-A-Bear.
That's why I enjoy having experts, because I had no idea about Build-A-Bear. I don't have children, so I never built a bear. So
the other day, me and Adam were talking actually about mothballs. What do you use them around the clothing? To keep them from getting holes on them and things like that. What do you do about
Yeah, everything that I source, I process, inventory, and package. So I don't have things, just on hangers or just in bins. If they're all they're all packaged, and sealed how I'm going to ship them. And then they have inventory numbers. So I use this and this, and then it gets stored away, and then I pull inventory when it sells. So, I mean, I guess it would, I don't know. I haven't run across having to use mothballs or anything like that. The other thing is that my inventory is in my home. I have a spare room upstairs, so I'm not dealing with, the climate of a storage unit or anything like that.
yeah, that could be an issue. I know. I had a storage unit. I had no idea when I moved from my home to a new home. and I put a lot of things because I was in outside sales, and I had a lot of tchotchkes, as they say in terms, mirrors and things like that. And I put that in storage, and I put some furniture in storage, and I didn't realize that it had like a vent, one of those big vents for the heat over top of my bin. So all that dust and dirt all came into my unit. And I didn't know. So all the furniture got pretty much ruined. I mean, I was able to save a lot of the hard goods. But again, some people have temperature controlled units. I know. I think at Lonnie Garage Flips has a unit where it's inside, so it keeps the things that are not at home in that unit, and it's temperature controlled. So okay, so how about shoes? You mentioned shoes are another big source of income for you. Any particular tips? I know Tina the Soul Advisor is supposed to be the big shoe guy. I think he's in Texas as well, maybe in Austin. But are there any particular brands that you look for? Any tips you could give us?
Any kind of quality leather shoe. When you're looking through shoes, especially at the Goodwill bins, you'll see a lot of junk. You can usually tell quality by holding the shoe. If it has leather soles, it's worth money. I would just say be very careful because shoes can dry rot. So
I was going to ask you that bending certain shoes, they have tendency to separate.
Yeah, always bend the shoes. It could be a beautiful shoe, but when you bend it, the sole will crack, or there'll be separation.
Right.
Yeah, it'll separate from the base, and so that's a ruined shoe. You don't want to pick that up. But I sell a lot of just common brands like Born, Clark's. Clark's do really well. Dansko, the clogs. Sanuk, just a variety of shoes, and you kind of start to expand from there. I get them so inexpensive that if I come across a brand that I am not familiar with, then I will grab it, and it's not worth my time to research it at the bins. So I'll bring it home, and I might research it and see, and if it's not worth too much, then I put it on just to get rid of it, right? Sell it cheap to flip it. And then I know not to pick up that brand again. I'm not into sneakers or any kind of, athletic shoes. I don't know enough about it. And I don't have the space to allow that much, in my inventory to get into that kind of shoe.
Right. Do you do any kind of retail arbitrage on new shoes, or you just pretty much stick to like the bins and, inexpensive shoes?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do some retail arbitrage. I sell a little bit on Amazon, and so I'm starting to do a little bit more retail arbitrage and getting ungated in some brands. So it's something that I'll do in the future.
Yeah, I know some people, like I said, they know athletic shoes. I know nothing about athletic shoes. I wore the Chuck Taylor Converse back in the day. And basically, I just went from, I had the Bobos when my mother didn't have the money. The Bobos are cheap ones. Then I had the Chuck Taylor All-Stars, the canvas. And then when I was really highfalutin, I got the leather Chuck Taylors. So that's all I know about athletic shoes. And now I have big feet, so I have to wear New Balance all the time. That's all I know about athletic shoes. But so I mean, I know there's a couple of channels that about sourcing retail arbitrage at the various discount outlets and picking up athletic shoes. But I guess you can some of these guys have shoe guides and can watch some of these shows. But shoes, I definitely want to get into shoes because I figure it's relatively easy to store. Now with the plushies, I'm thinking that might be a little bit difficult, especially the larger plushies for me to store because I'd have to store them. I guess I could store them in bins in my garage. But like right now, I'm trying to get away from jeans, but I have a lot of jeans and they're so easy to store. That's one of the reasons I started. Because you just fold them up in a little package. I mean, and you can stack them.
Yeah.
You can stack them I can put 30, 40 of these in a big IKEA bin.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm gonna look for your pink IKEA bags when I go to IKEA. I haven't been in a while because my back's been bothering me and I had Achilles surgery. So, but I definitely want to get over there and I always buy something when I'm walking around, kitchen gear or something, and I'll look for your pink. I wonder if there's something to do with breast cancer awareness. If they have like certain months that they sell those.
It was a limited time that they offered them, and then by the time I heard about it, they were completely sold out. The only IKEA close to me is in Austin, and so I've gone a couple times, and and they don't have them, and they're not available on their website anymore. So yeah, if anyone wants pink IKEA bag, I will pay you, pay you back. Just I want some like so badly.
Mine's right across the bridge in Philadelphia, so it's
I've never
20
seen
minutes without traffic.
Michelle in the chat is asking, how much do I pay for shoes? Shoes are by weight. So once at my bins, once you go, everything is $1.49 a pound. And then once you have 50 pounds, it drops to $1.29 a pound. And then there's another level, it'll drop to 99 cents a pound, except for shoes. So shoes, they weigh completely separately, and they are $1.29 no matter how many, no matter what the weight is. So that is what I pay for them. So mostly, I probably don't pay any more than $3. I mean, that would be a heavy shoe. Even all of my shoes are going to be, 70 cents, $1, less than $3. And I get a lot of UGG boots, and those, they're a little heavier. So probably still not over $3.
But they sell well, the UGG boots.
Yeah, they do. And actually, during last summer, I sourced them all through the summer, and I just kept saving them and saving them and saving them because nobody was paying attention to them. When it's 110 degrees here in Texas, they're just pushing the Uggs aside. And it was something that I stored and then listed, once the weather changed.
Do you have any secret, like formula, or as far as cleaning shoes, you use any special shoe cleaner that you use? I mean, I'm not a shoe person. I want to get into it, but I think I'd be careful, like with the erasers, magic erasers, because that's technically like sandpaper, and you get damage to the shoe.
Yeah. Hi, Thelma. Good to see you here. No, primarily, I don't do too much. I also am much more selective now than in the beginning. If I look at a shoe and it is, it needs a lot of work, I'm not going to invest the time that it takes to get it to look fabulous again. I have in the past thought I would. And so all of a sudden I had, a bin at home with shoes I'm going to work on, right? And that bin just filled and overflowed until I just redonated them. So now when I source, I don't, if I can't just wipe it clean with a cloth and it looks okay to get the dust off, then I'm not going to probably pick it up. However, leather shoes can sometimes not look so great, but all it needs is the leather needs to be reconditioned. So that is the one thing that I will do is when I get a shoe and the leather, it's perfectly great. It has a little bit of scuffs or something on it, and the leather looks a little thirsty, a little dry. Okay. Then the only thing you want to do is use a light leather lotion. And this one is just,
Kiwi.
I picked it up at Walmart, I think. And there's one that's really good that I'm out of, and that is
something honey.
Doc Martin, if you know the shoe, makes it's a little jar like this, and it's like like a paste, and that works really good on leather as well. And I ran out because I used it so much. You just don't want to overdo it. Just a little bit goes a long way. So you don't change the color of the leather. If you over condition something, it'll get super dark. Okay, so
that's a cleaner and conditioner, I guess.
Well, I will wipe everything down with a.
Usually with the Clorox, right? The Clorox wipes. I've seen you use those before.
Well, no, you don't. You can use the Clorox wipes. I do that for the bottoms of the shoes.
Okay, because I've seen you use that before.
Yeah, on the bottoms of the shoe.
But not on the leather tops.
No, you shouldn't use it on the actual leather. So a damp cloth, just to get any dirt, dust off. I use Clorox wipes on the bottoms, and then I condition with that. Most shoes that I pick up, though, I don't have to do anything to them but dust them, because I'm that selective on what I grab.
How about like when they mark them with the grease pencil or magic marker? Do you have any tips? I mean, do you just use acetone? Do you use Gooby Gone? What do you use to get the the markings off, the prices off?
Yeah, Goo is sometimes good for some of those, because sometimes I think it's like a grease pencil
Right.
that they use. So this can sometimes get it off. And then I do use a magic eraser sometimes on the bottoms. And I have also sold shoes where I couldn't get the price off. And so, but the shoe was good. I took a black, just a black Sharpie and just, kind of draw over it.
Made a design.
Yeah, I mean, just completely blacked it out.
Right.
And then just make sure that I took a photo of the soles of the shoe so that, and I didn't explain it. I didn't, draw attention to it. It was in a photo so that the person saw it and expected it when they received them.
Well, yeah, when they walk with it a few times, it's going to rub off anyway. So they don't really care.
Yeah.
There's a few more people in the chat. Hi, Jude. Hi, Thelma. Thanks for joining us. Hi, David. I don't see any questions. Let's see if there's any questions there.
Rosie says Huggies baby wipes will take prices off.
Yep. Sometimes.
Okay.
Any questions that we're missing, Anita? I was busy speaking with Alma.
Can I see this one?
Yeah, and Thelma says unless they're high dollar, leave them. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Over time, you just realize that you're not going to put the effort into it. I mean, maybe you will, but I know that I didn't. It was always something that, I'm going to set aside and I'm going to get to it someday, and I'm going to set aside and get to it someday. And then, you just never do. So just be more selective in the beginning and save yourself the hassle.
Okay, I have one last question for you. Then I'm going to turn it over to my capable co-host. Your listings, we had discussed this before privately. Do you have any secret sauce as far as how many listings to list on eBay, to list on Poshmark? How many do you try to do a day? I know we've talked about batching. If you just go over a little bit about that.
Okay. I work in batches. I have tried to do it many ways, right? You always want to be looking for new ways to improve your process. And so I've tried many processes, but what works for me now is that I work in batches. So there are days that, I feel like just putting music on and just taking photographs. And so when I am feeling that way, then I'm more productive because I'm enjoying it. So I will, I get inventory home, I'll separate it, sort it. And then the first thing that I do is take photos of everything. I take photos and then measure, package, and weigh everything. That is my one process. So there isn't things just sitting around, that's photographed, but not yet packaged. I package everything. That is the whole process. For a couple of reasons. I personally get overwhelmed with clutter. So
don't we all?
Yeah. So to have huge death piles is not something that I will completely be unproductive. It affects me so much. Like I won't be able to function. So so it's important to me to process things kind of quickly when they get in the house. And then I take notes on, I don't know where my notebook is. I take notes on a notebook, and it'll be in order with my photos. So it's, the brand, the size, the measurements, the weight of the package. So I know what to do with shipping. And then the inventory goes upstairs. It gets, put into inventory bins, and I list from my notebook. So there are times, I have hundreds of things in my notebook that are not yet listed. But when I feel like sitting to list, I have something to work from. Ideally, I list anywhere from, 20 to 50 items a day. Do I do it every day? No, I don't do it every day. But it's a goal. You really should be adding to your store consistently. So sometimes, I will list a lot, and then sometimes I don't. Now, what I will do is I do 30-day listings. So listings for me, after doing it this long, a year and a half or so, I have listings that end every single day. So every single day I look to see what listings ended, and I I might recheck my prices. I might adjust a title. And so there is something new hitting my store every day, whether it's something new that I've photographed in a matting or something that ended and I do sell similar. I don't relist.
That was my next question. You sell similar because allegedly you get a new ID number and that bumped you up with Cassini.
Right.
As opposed to just relisting and you get the same number. I guess if you have a lot of followers, that was I've been told by other sellers, if you have a lot of followers in a particular item, just relist because then you'll lose the followers if you sell similar.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, I love the new eBay offers to likers feature. I've been utilizing that.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Yeah.
So that, so that you can give them, an offer and try to turn them into the buyer. Right. But watchers doesn't always transfer, into your item selling. So I don't pay too much value in that. I just want my inventory to, kind of rotate and, but, and then I cross post to my other platforms. And that really is just when I feel like it. It's not an all the time thing.
That was one of the questions from Kathleen. She says, Alma, where do you sell shoes the most, on Posh or eBay?
eBay. Yeah. Well, because everything I have is on eBay. Most of my sales are on eBay. Okay. But I am trying to get more onto Poshmark, more onto Mercari, just because one platform, gets glitchy. There's been, obviously eBay issues.
Let's beg.
There's always going to be issues, and I don't think it's just eBay. It could happen at any of the other platforms. And so on days where eBay's been glitchy, the other day we did a little promoted listing experiment and I got 0 sales on eBay, but Poshmark came through and I got, by the end of the night, I had like 8 sales on Poshmark. So, it's important to diversify a little bit. I mean, don't make yourself crazy trying to put everything everywhere, because then, you could get overwhelmed and do nothing. So
do you take square photos so it makes it easier to cross post?
I always take a portrait photo of clothing.
Okay.
And then I do everything, the additional photos I do square. The reason I do one portrait photo is because a lot of my listings have a collage image as the cover photo. And so that allows me to show the complete length of, of a pair of jeans. And then I have 2 photos beside it that show, the label, tag, brand or whatever. And then, a close up of a pocket or something, some kind of detail. So I do kind of a variation and probably the same kind of photo just over and over again, because I know what I want the end result to be.
Right. Do you have a special app that you use for the collage?
I do. It's called Pick Joiner.
Okay.
And it makes it super easy. I think I had to pay for that app, maybe $4.99 or something, but once you buy it, you have it.
Okay, and one other question about the shoes. Michelle asked, are there any shoe brands that you should avoid? Like I was talking to Anita before. I mean, when I first started buying jeans, I was buying Gloria Vanderbilt jeans, and they don't sell other than if they're a very large size and they're almost in like new condition, because older women typically wear Gloria Vanderbilt. Younger people wouldn't purchase them, so I know to avoid them now. And of course, like the inexpensive Walmart brands. But are there any shoes that we should avoid, definitely stay away from, or some brands that maybe have sold before that are now they're like de rigueur, they don't really sell anymore?
No, I mean, just, if it sells at Payless, then, let it keep selling at Payless. Don't put it into your eBay store. Not that it's not going to sell, because some shoes, if it is a really cute design, there was some shoes that I purchased and it was a pink flat. It had a little strap that went around the ankle with a little bow. It was some no-name brand that even when I looked it up, I couldn't find it because I didn't know the brand. But it sold just on style because it was just a cute shoe. If it had fit me, I would have worn that shoe.
Yeah, right.
So, so some things, you don't be afraid to make decisions. If it caught your attention because, oh my gosh, it's adorable.
Yeah.
So maybe someone else will like it. You just have to price it accordingly, get it cheap enough that, you know, you don't have everything riding on this one purchase, and have fun with your business. You know, sometimes I think we get too caught up in, you know, in the numbers. Mm-hmm. Some plush that I sell, I might make only, you know, $4 or $5, but every day I sell a plush, it makes my heart happy, right? To put that little guy in a bag and send him on his way. Do I want my whole business model to be that? No, of course not. But it's sprinkled into the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you would buy it, that means somebody would buy it too. Yeah. We had another question. Where do you store the photos you haven't listed yet, of items you haven't listed yet?
My photos are all on my phone because I don't list from my phone. I create drafts on my computer, and then I open the drafts on my phone and I add the photos. So my photos are all on my phone. Mm-hmm. Once they're listed on eBay, this goes away. I get rid of photos. I'm not going to store them for years and years. And then when I cross post to other platforms, I drag and drop right out of eBay into those new listings.
How do you transfer them from the phone to the computer? Do you use Airmore for that? Do you use what kind of app do you use?
I don't transfer them to my computer. I open up the eBay draft on my computer and I upload the photos there.
Okay.
Okay, Anita, I guess you got all the questions and you want to ask the rest of the questions. Do you want to say anything else, or you just want to just hop right into the new questions that you have?
Okay, if you don't have any other questions, yes. I just wanted to ask about feedback. What do you do, like, to ensure positive feedback? Do you send, as far as Poshmark goes, do you send gifts with the items? Do you send thank you stickers? Do those help? Like, what?
I don't do anything extravagant on Posh. Like, I have seen, you know, people do, you know, tissue paper and bows and, you know, card and glitter, or not glitter, confetti and stuff like that. That is awesome. That is amazing that that someone, you know, takes that kind of detail into their business. I'm not that kind of person. You know, you purchased something for me, it was at a great price, and I'm going to make sure that it's packaged beautifully. I use those clear bags because I think presentation is key, right? You don't want it to arrive to you just kind of bundled up in the poly mailer. So I make sure that it looks good in that. Yeah. I do have some thank you cards that I got at Dollar Tree, and I love these, and I use them for only shoes on Poshmark. So I don't know if you guys can see these. They're little bitty shoes, and the card is glittered. It's just a note card, and I went to the Dollar Tree probably I don't know, 10 times within 2 weeks to just go and grab these because they kept restocking them. I would take all they had and then they would restock. So I have like a whole stash of those. Shoes, I normally will send that little cute thank you card. And it just says thank you for your purchase. And then I sign my name and that is it. Tissue paper, I usually put tissue paper inside of shoes, like to hold their shape, and then put it in the clear bag. So, but I don't do any kind of bows or ribbons or anything like that.
I'm sorry, can I interrupt for 1 second? When you store your shoes, do you do any kind of special storage? I know Karin from with Jason was cutting off those pool noodles, buying them at the dollar stores, and then cutting them and putting them like into, I guess, boots, putting to keep the shape.
No, and I don't sell a lot of boots, except for the UGG boots, and those are very soft suede, so those just kind of fold over. But I do on a shoe, like if they don't both fit in here, because I want everything sealed. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is I have cats. I have 3 cats. So part of the reason that I need my inventory to be processed and packaged is cat hair. I don't want that to get on everything. No. So that's another reason it's urgent to get my things into this and then store it. But if a boot doesn't fit into this, then I'll put 1 boot in each one and then put them and tape them together so that they are both individually wrapped. But I haven't had to use, and that's a good idea though, the noodles in the boots. I use that in my own closet, like for some of my own boots. But other than that, no, I don't really have any kind of storage thing. I use the big clear bins, and I just kind of lay all the shoes in there, and I have a lot of shoes.
Did you buy those bins at IKEA? Did you buy the big, huge bins?
No, just at Walmart. Now I did last year after Christmas. I bought a bunch of bins because they go on sale on clearance.
Yes.
Yeah. So those, I think they're blue. I have some green ones that you can't see through. I keep plush in, and then my clothing and other stuff I like to keep in clear bins.
Mm-hmm. I know you do those fun Sunday Posh closet sharing. Can you tell us a little bit about those? About that?
Yeah, on Sunday nights I host what I call a Posh sharing circle. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons that I started that, and it's a ton of fun because for me, mostly because of the chat, right? People that come regularly, it makes it fun. But I did that because I wanted to get more consistent with sharing on Posh. It's just part of the madness there, right? You have to share your closet, share to parties, share and follow people. And it can seem like, oh, that's just so time consuming. I don't want to do it. And I was feeling like if you're a seller online, you need to have a presence on Poshmark. Even if it's not your primary platform, I think good things are coming from Posh. And so you need to have a presence there. So I wanted to show people that it doesn't take long to share. And it can be done very quickly. I do it live on my show. Anyone that comes on Sunday nights and joins the Posh party, then share your closet name in the chat, and I share from your closet live. And everyone within the party also shares everybody's closet that night. So it's just really fun. Does it give a lot of sales come Monday morning? No, not really, but it does get you followers. It gets you exposure. And during that night, your items are being shared to people that are not your own followers, right? So if I have 53,000 followers and you have, 200, you might want to come because I will share from your closet, and not just your 200 people are going to see your item, but the 53,000 that follow me, or 20 or 40,000 that follow somebody else that's in the chat. So it's fun. And then I keep a link to everybody's closet that attends. And during the week, I randomly share from everybody's closet as well.
Yeah, I came in one day and I saw the sharing and I was like, this is really fun. Very interesting. Yeah. What about the Posh parties on Poshmark? Do you go to those parties?
The Posh parties are at peak times for the app. So the most busiest time that people are interacting with the app, that is when there are normally Posh parties. So even if, even if it's a theme or a product that you don't have, like, they might be sharing, it might be a Louis Vuitton party, and I don't sell Louis Vuitton. I love Louis Vuitton, but I don't sell Louis Vuitton. However, during that party is a good time for me to share to my own followers because there's a lot of people on the app at those hours. So usually I will pop in and I will do some sharing during that time to my own followers from my closet.
Okay. What about other hobbies and interests that you have besides the YouTube and the selling? What other hobbies do you have that you like to do?
Well, I stay pretty busy with my business, and part of the beauty of it to me, at least now, since I am fairly new as full-time, right? I just started full-time in July, is that this was my hobby, right? This what going to thrift stores and sourcing for myself, for my kids, for just fun things. That was my hobby, and so I have kind of turned that into now my work. So it doesn't seem like like it's work, although it's a lot of work. I will say that. I mean, some people say, yeah, no, it's a lot of work, but the freedom that work provides is something like nothing else, and it's very worth it. Outside of that, I have a daughter who's a senior and a son who's in marching band in high school, and so we stay pretty busy with going to football. We love football. Do you know that? We love football in Texas. So high school football, we're at every game. They're in the playoffs right now. So my kids consume most of, my non-work time. Mm-hmm. But I'm an avid, crafter. I did scrapbooking, my kids were little. I love to make handmade cards. I love rubber stamping. And so I have a huge collection of rubber stamps that I enjoy. And so sometimes I'll get the urge and I'll sit down and I will just, make a bunch of handmade cards. I usually will do handmade cards for Christmas. So that's probably something I'll be doing here soon.
Okay. Well, Adam, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, the only thing I had, Anita, and I had discussed this. I was watching another show about Poshmark, and again, I'm trying to learn about Poshmark, so just asking you for your expertise. There was a discussion about bundles and an issue with shipping, that if it goes over 5 pounds shipping, it creates a problem. And someone had, I guess, did a bundle, and they didn't weigh it and didn't change the price before they approved the offer, and then it cost them like $15 additional in shipping. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on how that works, the bundles and the shipping? Are you familiar with how that works?
Yeah, well, when you have a sale, there is a flat rate, right, that Poshmark charges, but you need to know the weight of items ahead of time, because you as a buyer will need to pay the difference. And so, you can get overzealous with bundles and think, oh, this person's fine, but you're going to have to pay that difference. So whatever that mistake was, that's operator error, right? That's
right. The seller has to eat that, and that's the way it should be. I mean, the seller made a mistake, they should own up on it and just pay it.
Yeah. So that's just, not knowing the platform. So those are the kinds of things that you just need to kind of learn. I guarantee you that seller will not make that mistake again.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, and I talking to people in the chat, a lot of sellers have made that, but they were all when they were in the beginning. Like you said, you learn from your mistakes, and I guess it was a valuable mistake, $15, and hopefully it saves them a lot of money over the years.
Right. Yeah. So.
Okay. Did we miss any questions, Nita? Because we're approaching the 1 hour mark, and I know everyone's time is valuable.
Didn't know. We're good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Just an announcement: the show will be on next Wednesday. We shall see whose channel it's going to be on. If Nita can join us, we'll probably put it on her channel. If not, I'll have it on my channel again. Again, it'll be on the same time every Wednesday. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us. I want to thank our special guest, Alma. A lot of valuable information. And again, the chat will be up after the show. So if you guys are watching the replay, you will see the chat and the questions afterwards. And appreciate everybody. Alma's links are all in the description, as well as Anita's links. So
subscribe to Alma. Please go watch her Sunday shows. They're very fun.
And
yeah, also on Friday nights, I host what is called a pajama party. And so that is literally, I've been thrifting more pajamas for that party. So, I will set up, sometimes I just sit and list and chat, but usually that's when I take photos, I package, and I will do that live while hopefully everyone that is in the party is also working at home. So we're kind of just all working together separately. And that's every Friday night.
Yeah, I love that most of your videos are live.
You do a tea time too as well, right?
Yeah, Thursdays I do a tea time with Alma, and that is just kind of sit down and spill the tea on things that are happening, what's going on, talk reselling and not sometimes. So yeah, follow me follow my channel, and you'll get alerted when I go live. I do a lot of spontaneous live. I'm not like organized like you guys that plan so much, but that's good. So it makes reselling fun to not be isolated and alone.
Yes, definitely.
That's true. Okay. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Thank Anita, thank Alma, and thank the viewers. You guys will have a great day and productive day. And as Prof Sales says, good sales to you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.